So when you talk a lot of people, when you reach a certain age, you have what they call the second mountain of life, no? Which is, now what? Okay, I reached to this, and now you have this call of, you feel this call of purpose, you have children, you have, that you are starting to build a legacy. You are not just struggling for getting the first mountain, you are in the second mountain, no? So one of the questions that I have a conversation with colleagues, even younger colleagues, is what is success for you in life? What does it mean being successful? How do you measure success? How was success when you were younger? How was success now? How is going to be success when you're about to die, no? What is your meaning in life, no? And also, another thing is, whose rules for success are you following? Are you playing the success of other people or your own success, or you are combining, no? What type of orientation do you have, no? And also, another one, which is one of the metrics that I discovered like 2 years ago. I was on a beach after a talk, it went very well, and I was alone. I called my children, I was in Uruguay. I called my children, my wife, everything was well, my parents, and I felt like I was successful. I said, if I die now, I die on the top of my life. And I didn't have any great position in an organization, I didn't have a great car, a great house, but I felt this is what a magical moment, no? I don't know if you have ever felt something like that. You're like, this moment is total, it's very special, no? And it gets like recorded, no? So the idea is first is understanding what is success, and also differentiating between the resume virtues, which is what you put on LinkedIn, and your eulogy virtues, which is what the people say when you die. Are totally different. When you die, the people are going to tell a different story. They want to tell that Luis reached 70% of chargeability, which is billing in consulting. No, this is not a metric for life, no? But in certain environments, it's the metric. Okay, you are as valuable as you charge to the client work. And also I have these two stupid maps. They're very simple, but I have these maps and I use them sometimes, and they help me because they're so simple that they allow you to create a lot of different conversations. No, the one is the purpose on direction, which is what do you want, and then you have like two axes. One is where I am, I know where I am, I don't know where I am. And the other one is where I'm going, I don't know where I'm going, I know where I'm going. And like 2 years ago, I was trying to position myself, and I discovered I was here. I don't know where I am, and I don't know where I'm going. I don't have any plan. And I find that a lot of people was here also. They have a plan, a perfect plan. So this is how how many people start to make questions in their life. No, I don't know what I am. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I don't have any plan. So if you are in the bottom left, you could have an anxiety attack because you are totally lost. No, and the people that are sometimes in the bottom, in the top right, what they have is another perception. Is that they're missing a lot of the things, the good things of life, because they have everything planned. Everything is straight. No, and the other one is when you work with people, I think that happiness and quality of life comes from relationship with the right people. You have the wrong people around, any job is a shit, any project is a shit. You have a shitty project, a good people, it could be a great project, no? So I have one other thing which talking about which type of people do you prefer to work with, no? And you have relationship, friendly people are assholes, okay? And then you have incompetent and competent, no? And at the beginning, I love this type, no? People that are not very competent, but you can teach them, you can learn, and then you have a good time with them. But when it comes to save the world, you need this type of people. People that are totally badasses, that they go straight to they can be assholes, sorry, but they have capabilities. So when you build a team and when you are finding your why, more or less, I can use this type of ideas. No? They're very open, they're like little canvases, and help a lot to make questions, no? Which is one of the things that we need before deciding what we're going to do. No? And this is one of the moments that I think we are here, many of us. No? We are making questions about what we're going to do next. No? After when we finish this, why are we here, and what are we going to do when we finish here? No? And there is the point is that in life is all the time is chaos and order. No? And you have all this. In culture, you have all around, we have the same situations. It's chaos, order, destruction, construction all the time, no? And now we are in a moment that is more or less something like that. No, we are in a moment that the old way of doing things is not valid anymore, or we're questioning it, and the new way of doing things didn't arrive yet. So we are in a moment of uncertainty, of anxiety, no? And this is one, there is a concept is called anacyclosis. It's Polibio, a historian in antiquity. And he discovered that the political cycles follow a pattern, no? And you start from monarchy, and monarchy gets corrupted and get to tyranny, and then you go to aristocracy. Aristocracy becomes oligarchy. Then you have democracy, and then it becomes ochlocracy, which is like the government of the mob. No? Like a mafia of people, no? And maybe it could be familiar for some of us, no? So, and also at the same time, you find that people born in the late years are thinking that democracy is not important anymore. They don't care about democracy because they don't believe, because maybe they feel that they are living here. So it doesn't make any sense to vote because nothing changes, no? So the people is starting to stop voting, stop participating. So we're seeing maybe what could be a change of cycle, no? So this is what happened in the companies, this is what happened in the market, the customers, the families, everybody's living through this moment of uncertainty, and maybe a change of cycle, no? So when we talk about tension and anxiety, in the last talk we talk about there is one, for the evolution is key to have moments of chaos and moments of order, moments of destruction, moments of reconstruction, no? And here is when you have a concept which is, I saw it in an exhibition in Barcelona, in Madrid. It was Masters of Chaos, and it was about the shamans and people that managed change in communities, in different tribes, in different cultures in the world. You have Indians, you have people from Africa, you have people in Russia, and the point there was the people that helped the community to move from the old order to the new order. And this usually came in the moments of cycle, change of cycle in the year, from when you finish the winter and you start, you have the solstice, you have the equinox. You have different rituals where the community gets together and celebrate that they are still alive and still together, no? And also when you have a change in life, no? And liminal beings are the people that can connect both worlds. They can help you to go through the different moments of the transformation, no? And I think a creative person should be something like this. Should be a liminal being, somebody that can understand how the old world used to work and how he can create a vision about how the new world could work. What if we do it this way? What if we do it that way? No? And then the interesting thing about this type of people, if you're a pure creative or pure consultant, is you're very normal, but the value is the people that can make both work together, or those two people trying to work together. This is very important, no? So when we're talking about diversity, we're talking about that. People with different mindsets, different cultures, playing and creating together. And when you go to I read a lot of books. I was saying to Filippo that it's not useful a lot at all. Thinking and reading is not useful because it gives you pain. It makes you think, and it's easier to go straight, no? But there is a lot of people talking about what is happening, no? And if you see, there is a lot of, well, China superpowers, obviously, people, optimists, a lot of people talking about future. Well, future, the end of the future. This book, I think, is very, very interesting if you are worried about global warming. It's about the psychology of the denial and also the acceptance of the global the climate change. No, so there are many different ways of interpreting what is happening, and the people I think they are reading more than ever now. No, sometimes they read is shit, but in many cases the people I think they are trying to understand what is happening and what is going to happen. No. And also there are another type of books, and this is more or less the content of the talk. They talk about dualities, no? How to bring together different dualities. Some of them, 0 to 1, I don't know if you're familiar with any of them. Do you know these books? No? 0 to 1 is Peter Thiel, the creator of PayPal and now in Palantir, one of the investors in Silicon Valley. And he talks about how can we create from nothing to something, to create something that scales, PayPal, etc. He's been investing in many companies. No? The startup way is, Eric Rice, he did the Lean Startup, and he was talking how can corporate develop a startup capability, no? How can work like a startup? So they're mixing again the old way of working with the new way of working. Accelerate is the same. Human plus machine is always the same. Is how can we combine human and people to create not artificial intelligence, but collaborative intelligence. Then we have To Be a Machine, which is a guy that wrote a book about the people that feel like it's better to have being in the cloud with a robotic body than having a proper body. No? It's a very interesting book about utopians, cyborgs, etc. Neil Ferguson, for instance, is a historian, and he wrote about the square and the tower. The square is where the people get together, where the people talk openly, and the tower is a hierarchy. And the book is very interesting. He talks about the Illuminati, the Facebook, Facebook, the many different companies, organizations. Pivot to the Future is from Omar Abosh is from Accenture, and these guys talk about how a company can create different speeds to work, no? How can transform themselves, protecting the actual business, but at the same time rotating to the new business. No? And also you have Loonshots, which is more or less the same. It's a very interesting book. Thinking Fast and Slow. Do you know this book? This is very, very interesting. It's also the same, no? How a company can think fast and can think slow, because they need to combine both mindsets. No? And People versus Tech. So you can see there is a lot of dualities. It's two concepts trying to work together, concepts that don't have anything to do. So in the end, when you have two concepts, you have a transformation coming, because you have to reach a conclusion. No? So the point is that all the people is talking about, and before Filippo was talking about that, I want to make a more human world, and I say that many times. I want to make more human companies, but sometimes I think maybe it's too human, no? Everything, no? We're talking about Anthropocene. The world is human enough. It's very human. It's all the human that it can be, more or less. No, I think maybe we have to dehumanize it a little bit. No, and we're having a lot of challenges. No, and this is because I think the world has advanced a lot, and it creates a lot of richness for many people. For many people, everything is very good. There's a lot of opportunities. But now we're in a moment, as we said, that we're having the old model and the new model, and we have to find another one. No, and this is the bad side of the humanizing the world. No. And this is a quote from I think is very illustrative. Andrew Beckley is an ex-colleague from Fjord, and he's working at a very interesting company. It's called Impossible, and they have very interesting missions. I think it's the consultancy of the future, the things that they are doing. No? And he says, what kind of future do you want? And I said, I want one that corrects some of the wrongs we are currently living through. One that is designed for my daughter and not for my granddad. I think this is very interesting, no? Because we have a lot of people taking decisions that are 50-something. You have to pass the torch to the new generation, no? And you have all these children in the schools, Greta Thunberg and all this movement with young people asking for having the right to have a planet, for instance, no? So this is one of the main tensions that we're finding in many companies. It's like the big change that we're feeling is that it's not about digital anymore, it's about what type of world are we building, no? So when we think about the economic model, no, we are seeing that many companies are trying to create something, no? And there is one movement that people talk about years ago: greenwashing, pinkwashing, which is every company is gay, ethics washing, every company is ethical, and now purpose washing. Purpose is a product now. It's a product that you sell to get clients and to get employees, no? So we have to identify which companies are authentic in this way. So we need these different types of organization, and I think many of the people working in big companies, they believe in what they're doing and they try to do the best things. But sometimes the model is almost broken, so it's very difficult for them to change things. No? So when we're talking about designing the future, we need to imagine something positive. No, it's not about Black Mirror, it's not about reading media, because the problem with media is that you read it, I don't know if you are aware of a syndrome that is called eco-anxiety. Do you ever hear about that? It's what many people are feeling because they are reading all the time that the planet is going to, no? And children are having really hard moments because of that. If you read about eco-anxiety, in fact, one of the books that I put, what we think about when we think about climate change is about that, how the people cope with the psychology of climate change, and how you go from a feeling of helplessness to a feeling of empowerment, of how can we create a project so we can help to save the things, no? So when we talk about design the future, we said there is a fear and anxiety, no? And the problem with many companies and the marketing is that you sell urgency all the time, urgency, emergence, and you have to react, because if you don't react, you are dead, no? So this is what they call, Jonathan Wisman is a guy that is in the World Economic Forum. He talks about hyperventilation of change. No, it's all the time, change, Uber and Facebook and Google and big data and robots, artificial intelligence. So the people can't cope with that, so they're shutting down and they're disconnecting totally. No? And the problem with this is that it makes you feel that there is nothing to do, that it doesn't make any sense to vote, it doesn't make any sense to change consumption, it doesn't make any sense to ask for anything because nothing to do, everything is going to come and we are helpless with this. No? So the other day we were talking also, there's no music? Oh yeah, this is an interesting video, if you don't see the media. This is an artistic composition. It's what happens if there was no news. No? And I think it's an old video, but I think the interesting thing about this video is that makes you think, what do the media live from? No? They had a lot of money with paper, now they have cents with digital, so they have to create a lot of traffic and allow people to comment and no filter. They are creating a lot of trash. No? And the problem is that the content that calls our attention is the content about bad things. So we are all the time like everything is crap, and we need to see, okay, this is crap, but this is not, and these are opportunities, no? Because if not, we are starting to have this situation of helplessness. So there are many people talking about change and how the world has been changing and how it's changing now. And this is, Joel Mokyr is a historian of economics, and for me this is the quote, that many of the jobs that we're doing, maybe you didn't study, I don't know, who of you did a study for the job that you have, properly? You study for a job and you have the job that you prepare for in the university or in the academia, whatever. Who did invent his own job here? Didn't exist when you started, when you finished studies. In my case also, I was a lawyer. So, as we said, lawyers can be creative. So the problem with many of the people is that, and this is the role of creativity, is help imagine there is something better coming and create something that is motivating so that people can go and do things together. No? And this lack of imagination is part of the responsibility of the lack of optimism. This pessimism is because we are not able to imagine or look outside Black Mirror or whatever to think that there could be good things. No? So when we talk about the scenarios, I'm going to go for the people that wasn't in Barcelona, it's very shorter. When you imagine the future, this is a work that we did at Fjord for a big company in Korea, to imagine what type of products and services could launch in different social scenarios. No? And this is future foresight. Are you familiar with future foresight, which is this type of consulting? Future foresight is trying to create, you are familiar, no, Filippo? Because in the end, with art, you are doing something like this. Okay, let's imagine what if, how the world could be. No? So we did a panel with experts and futurists, and we create like 4 scenarios. This is like the shortest version. But the idea is that if you create a vision of the future, and you identify the good and the bad, you can set a direction. The problem is that if we don't know where we're going, and we don't know where we are, we have a problem. So the idea is that we have to know where we are, what we have today that is useful for the future, and also create a shared vision so we all together can do something. No? We can talk the same language. And this is, again, creativity. The role of creativity is get people together for me, connecting ideas and people. No? So we have these 4 scenarios. As you can see, my device is using 2x2 matrices. So you have a scenario where community is healthy or broken, and where economy is healthy or broken. And you have the community is healthy, but the economy is broken, is back to earth. This one is a crisis, and the families start to get together. Happening the crisis in the Mediterranean with Greece, Spain, Argentina. All the people were inventing a new economy, no? And there was social unrest, but the people were trying to collaborate. And also you have this hipster movement of making this back to the past, idealized past. No? Brilliant Green is when a community and economy works together. It's opportunities for everyone. Everybody is growing. Godfather state is when there is no community and there is no economy. And runaway consumerism is when the economy is healthy but there is no community. People is very selfish and it's very self-absorbed in their own lives. No? So this is more or less, if you put it in movies, you can have that. We have scenarios to imagine all the time, no? And if we go from the worst, which is Godfather State, broken economy, and broken community, you can see that this is more or less happening in some countries, some places, no? You have fear of the other, who is this guy coming here from another country. You have corporations as governments. You have Facebook, Google making lobby in European community, for instance. They are the ones that spend the most in lobbying the community for privacy, data, whatever, no? Political disengagement, we have more or less things like that, no? And this is content related to this, no? This is an interesting thing that some people are using in some companies. They are putting sensors under the skin of people to monitor where they are, what they're doing. So you can even, in the future, you will charge for brain cycles, no? You are thinking your dog, you are not. So this is what is happening, and it's very provocative, no? Runaway consumerism, you see it everywhere. Everybody traveling like crazy, going to the Louvre to take a selfie, and then 30 seconds after they leave to another place. The influencers, all the influencer economy that you see a lot of. The other day I was seeing a woman in Spain. She went to Africa and she was with a black boy and giving a chocolate. And he said, it's so easy, make happy children. The simplicity of a smile with a Hershey's, no, with a Hershey's chocolate. And it was like a, what? No, it's very superficial, very, I don't know. For me it was dystopic, no? So the continuous renovation, physical perfection, continuous shopping as a streaming shopping. It's all the time boxes and processing things that you don't even get engaged with it, no? And this is, well, this is some of the news. How can we make the people consume more and more and more, no? And the selfie economy. Then the brilliant green, as we said. So you have the people, the corporations are integrated as social actors, and they're having a very good impact. The energy is sustainable, inclusiveness, respect for the individual. AI and robotics is for quality of life, it's not for exploring people. And gene therapy, whatever, no? So you have a total different way of using technology and a totally different mindset, no? Which is inclusive and everybody is getting. No one of these scenarios is pure. You can find a mix. You go to the street, you can find different moments and different small scenarios where you have this situation, no? You have social unrest, you go to a Godfather State immediately, because you see that the governments are looking for the people, and they have cameras all around, so everything is there, but the idea is what is the good and what is the bad, and how can we create a vision so we have the best, and not a utopia, because utopias, we more or less know what happened with them, but something that is viable, no? Viable and inclusive. And this is what many companies are doing, no? They're finding out that there is a business in being green, no? And in fact, there is like $14 trillion business for being in circular economy. There's a lot of money to be made if you do it right, okay? Well, out. And back to Earth, the last one, this is the back to simplicity and to the easy life, no? What is the important things in life, no? In one of them, you can have the metrics in life would be how many followers do you have, how many likes did you make today. In this would be something different, no? And we were talking yesterday about this. This is, I was walking, this is Google Maps is running in background. This is, I take it, the screen capture yesterday when I was walking in Berlin. And well-being should replace growth as main aim of UK spending and New Zealand's net liberal milestone. Budget guided by well-being. As you can see, we're starting, in somehow we are what we measure. So if we change the metrics, we can maybe change something. So one of the interesting things is observing what is happening in New Zealand, if it's working or not. Because if it works, maybe she can show us that there is a different way. But the problem is that we have this TINA acronym, which is there is no alternative, that said Margaret Thatcher in the 80s. We have to sell all these public companies, we have to cut in expenses, we have to do all this neoliberal thing, because there is no alternative. But now there is a lot of people, and this is what I was saying, a lot of people trying to find for an alternative, no, of a model. And this is where the marketing, the agencies, the design, we're living in this. It's not like a bubble. We're living, creating ideas or painting things. I think we have to work in this world, no, and understand what is happening. So when we talk about the social impact of experience, and we're talking here about design, I'm going to talk about one company that everybody knows, because in 2015 I was in the World Economic Forum and everybody was totally amazed with Uber. I'm talking about Uber. So what happened with this type of companies? No? There is a saying that the best experience wins. If you create a good experience and you do it well, you can win a market. And this is what's happening with many companies. They don't think about, we're a taxi company, we're a mobility company, and they start to redesign the service, and the people start to use it because it's working very well, and it's not working as taxis. No? And what they did at the beginning, they started with the touch points. No? The touch points are what a user experience designer does. The screen of the mobile phone, the screen of a laptop, or whatever. So this is how you interact with the business. The service and the experiences, it started when we have, like years ago, when we started with the multi-channel, omni-channel thing, we try to understand that we are providing an experience. You have a call center, you have a laptop, you have a mobile phone. So you have to create like a plan to create an experience that is connected and is consistent. No? So we started with service design. Then the companies started to discover that they are not able to innovate, and they are not able to understand the client because they saw the client through Excel and data, very quantitative data. So they started to think about, we need to be more creative, so we need to change the organization. And here we started to work in culture and organization, and employee experience, we're talking about before. No? Employee experience, which is how you attract, keep, grow, and let go the employees in a company to make it productive and to make it innovative. No? And this is part of the content of the books at the beginning. How can you create something that respects the old structure of the company, what is the business and the money today, and how you create something that starts to rotate and renovate the company. No? Then after that, you create systems and infrastructure. And obviously, after that, you create policies and regulations. So if you think about Uber, they started with an application, and we have a social unrest. And they adapted perfectly through all these things, because they are adapted to this. Here, they make a little some trick here, but they adapted perfectly to this. No? They flowed through the ecosystem to be successful. And now you have the individual experience, how your experience, if you buy in Amazon, if you use Google, if you use Netflix, if you use Facebook, how the aggregation of all your individual experience impact in society. This happened also with Walmart many years ago, no? When they started and said, no, they're closing the stores in the small towns. When we consume something and we use something, we're creating an aggregated impact. No? Also it happens with the scooters in the street, you can see them, and different ways of working. No? And this is what we said, no? Are you familiar with desire paths? Who is familiar with this concept? Desire path? Designers. Okay, this is the shortcut for many people. You can go this way, and this, don't step on the grass. The people start stepping on the grass, and in the end this ends up like a way to be paved. No? So this is what all these small companies, the startups, when they start, they don't think about, for instance, this is banking. No? You need a car, so you go to the bank and you ask for a loan to buy a car. No? And you go through the process, the product, and then what these people did is trying to create the experience of driving. So if you want a car to buy it, I can create a credit scoring that gives you the credit in 1 week. You don't have to wait like months. If you don't want to buy a car but you want to access one, I can give you, you can use it with a smartphone. So they are not thinking in terms of an industry, but thinking in terms of experience. So the people start using it all the time. So it's convenient, it's easy, it's simple, it's sexy. So you feel like you are modern because you are riding a Lime, no? And this is how the people that are designing is working in many companies. This is the people that are disrupting. They don't feel like they have to improve this. They feel that they have to make something new. And this is one thing that I would say to you. Think about what is broken in your business or the business that you want to build, and think in this different. What is the experience of working with you for your clients and also for the end clients of your clients? Okay. So when you try to find your space and value, and this is how can we create this, there are many different ways, no? And this is, do you know Oscar, this insurance company in New York? It's invested by Google. They said this, we didn't start this company because we loved health insurance. Quite the opposite, in fact. Imagine saying this, we didn't build my X because I love agencies, because I love whatever. Quite the opposite, in fact. So, and then what they did is focusing on pain points. No? Simple insurance designed for you, so you don't have a small print, you have it's totally different. Then you make your head explode, and if it does, you are covered. And get a bright, articulate doctor to call you without having to join a dating site. So they were focusing, analyzing the customer experience, therefore focusing on the pain points and creating something and give it, put it upside down. No? And the interesting thing is, if you are a designer of this product, it's very interesting, but also if you are a marketer, it's very, because you feel proud of creating communicating a product that does cool things. No? It's not just making up a crappy product. No? So this is one of the ways of doing it, no? But also you have toxic business models, which is all this thing about artificial empathy that I call, no? This is manipulation of people with brands and with data, algorithms, behavioral economics used in the bad sense. And this is one quote from Reed Hastings, the CEO of Netflix, no? He said that he's not competing with Disney or Amazon, or how can they improve the experience for the members. And they compete with Fortnite. They are not competing with, they're competing for the time and attention of the people. And this is what, they have clear what they are not competing with the rest. So they're focusing on the experience, and what do I want for the people? I want their time and their attention. And make them pay each month. So you don't unsubscribe anytime, because you are all the time being bombarded. I work with some of these type of companies. You have the elephants documentary, the communication, so when you are thinking about leaving, suddenly you have an interesting documentary that you're not going to see, but you say, no, I can switch off of this because there is a elephants documentary, I want to see it, no? It's something aspirational, no? So what they say is that they compete with companies that have low barriers to entry and great experiences. And then he goes another step. They are not competing with Fortnite, they're competing with sleep. So now you have the 24/7 people watching series, people sleeping very badly, no? So they think about what they are doing. They are not thinking about, no, I want to be like HBO. They think, I don't want my people to sleep, no? So these are models, and these are quotes in the, you can see this type of quotes in the media, no? So these are models that are based on attention. So they are using data, they're using algorithms, artificial intelligence to get the most of your attention, to engage you, no? And you have a lot of designers that are now like thinking, what did we build? The guy that designed the like button is saying it. The people that designed the smartphone, that now they are in Nest, they say, now that I have children, I wouldn't have designed the smartphone as I designed it. So it's very interesting how the people are seeing the unintended consequences of something that looked good in the moment, no? And when we talk about Uber, what they did is thinking about not in cars, but in verbs, not in nouns. Move, not car, having a car. And you have a lot of companies doing different ways of mobility. Before you have this one, the taxi, and a little more. Now you're having different components of the experience, and this is something that is interesting maybe in marketing. What are the components of the experience of advertising or communication or this product design, whatever, and how can we recombine it? Agencies did this in many years ago, when you have the media buying, you have the production, you have different parts, no? But now, all these companies, they think in ecosystems and how to move people. They don't think about how to, so they find small opportunities and they scale them, no? And in the case of Uber, they didn't redesign the taxi, they redesigned the experience. No? The experience of having, what is the most fucked up thing of having a car, a taxi? So they create something that looked premium, no? And you have in the map when the taxi was arriving, the payments, everything was there. So they thought in everything that was broken, like Oscar at the beginning, no? We didn't create Uber because we love taxis, quite the opposite in fact. No? And they create a new company, a new proposition, because they were in a company, based on that, on the experience, and over the top of the experience, no? And then you have this situation, no? And the interesting thing is how there is a lot of debate about this type of business models. Because taxes, because working rights. There is a bank, I heard them to the people, the client, talking about how can we Uberize the employees, and I say, what about the rights? No, they have to sell. If they sell, they get the money. If they don't sell, they get the money. What are the rights? No, because if I'm Uberized, this is cool because then I work and I work when I want. I say, yeah, but you need to plan your life. You will have financial commitments, and you need to pay for that, for a house. So you need to plan and understand how it's going to be. And if you Uberize all the company, you can have a jungle there, no? The people competing with each other, they're not going to be collaborating, no? So I think the concept is very interesting because we are not talking about design, you're not talking about the business model, we are talking about the social impact of technology. So this is one of the things, not trying to think, if we solve this problem, probably we will create another one, no? Which is typical with the cars, with many things. The plastic was good at the moment, now it's not good. Obviously, you have to change all the time, no? And this is we talk about Uberization, no? Love it, hate it, no? It's a love-hate. It's very polarized, the opinion of this company, no? And then you have the interesting thing, which is in part I must confess that I'm happy with this when I see that they are not profitable yet, because it makes you think, okay, what type of working conditions are you giving to the people that are working with you, no? In Spain, for instance, there were people protesting the taxes because, and the people were saying that you're a monopoly. And the thing was that you have like 60,000 people with 60,000 licenses, and 30,000 licenses were in the hands of 5 people of Uber licenses. So who is playing what? No, this is the point. No, so it happened with Airbnb. You started as sharing your flat, sharing something that you're not using, and now you have investment funds buying and evicting a lot of people just to create hotels. No, and so this is one of the things when you are doing design. These are the things that many designers are thinking about now. What are we building? And the interesting thing is that you're working in corporate, you're seeing a lot of people with a lot of money, and it's very interesting. But the point is that we are starting to be worried about what type of world are we leaving to our children, for instance. No? What type of work, what is going to be living in this planet? No? And then you have the continuous exploration. They didn't stop because they're talking about moving things or moving people, so they have different products and services around the mobility. This is interesting. This is a vending machine in the car, so you can pay something inside the car, some Doritos or some M&Ms, no? And then you have the financial part, which is Uber unveils IPO with warning it may never make a profit, and the people are investing, so they're speculating, no? So it's very interesting because they were the heroes, and now we don't know what they are, no? They were the heroes, the Uberizers, the innovators, the business model, open source, whatever, and now we are not going, we don't understand, and we don't even understand the way they are operating financially. Until they finish the cash, they will be alive. So there is an interesting company because it was like the fever of the 2015 when everything digital was great. No? So when we talk about this duality, we talk about change, transformations, transitions, and also transfers. No? And this is the other day I talked about this god. Who knows this god here? Who doesn't know it? Janus, yes, it's a spoiler. Janus is a Roman god. Is the god of transitions and the beginnings. And he's an old god and a young god. So he knows about the past and he's looking at the same time at the future. So he's the god of transitions. You have a past, when you reach a certain age, you start having a past and a legacy, and you have start thinking about what is the future. No? So many companies, many people are in this situation. It's, okay, what did I did, where I'm coming from, and where do I want to go? No? What I am, where I want to go, the first compass that we used in the first slide. No? And the creative process is something like this. You start with chaos, and the people talk a lot about connecting dots, and I say you can't connect dots if you don't have dots. You have to collect dots first, no? And so you have, because if you have the dots, you know what to do. From A to B is here, 2 dots, done. The thing is, How many dots are you collecting and how many of them are you using? And here is where you create the transition, the past and the future. But the problem for the other side, this is the other side of a client that you go through a creative project. I have a normal life and then these guys come and then I enter in chaos. But they seem to be comfortable because we are used to the creative process. But these are the two sides of what is chaos, what is normal for us is chaos for them. No? So we are chaos instigators. This is what we do. No? And this is how we create the transformation. Just as we said at the beginning, is destroy and create all the time. No? And also happens, this thing happens in politics. For instance, Americans that are not sure about global warming happening, you need this. These are the connectors. In case of companies, what is happening also is that we have, the organizations are designed thinking as machines, and this is what we used to do. You have MBAs, you have engineers, you have very standard profiles. Now, you have something that is more like an organic living entity, no? And because, curiously, we're discovering that people have emotions. The people aware has to be managed. No? People aware is not software, it's not hardware. It's very tough. I always said that many colleagues from big companies, they say, I love creative people. You don't want to work with 20 creative people for 6 months. You don't want. You don't know what you're saying, no? Because we are too emotional. We work with a lot with our emotions, no? So we are more vulnerable. And when we talk about the companies, I think always that we have like two hormones that we use, no? Cortisol, you know cortisol? The hormone of stress, competition, threat, the jungle, and oxytocin, which is, in women obviously is different, but men we have also oxytocin, which is bonding and collaboration. If you see, even the molecule is more complex in the oxytocin. Cortisol is quite simple, no? And also this business libido thing that I was talking with some of you, which is many of us are not the typical business people that are seeing business all the time, business, no? Like a VC or like an entrepreneur. Our business libido is low. We want to create something that is meaningful, create value, enjoy the process, no? So this is one of the main challenges that in some places we have with people, because you are not getting the results that the people on the top they need to report, no? And this is an interesting thing. This is, if you want to create shareholder value, this is a consulting company, this is a map. Revenue growth, operating margins, asset efficiency, expectations. This is how you can reach and make a stock be more valuable in the market. So everything is in a hierarchy, in a taxonomy, no? And then you have this type of companies. No? These companies are military, they're like machines. So you're all the time doing the repetitive job, very predictable, scalable. So this is the culture of in all companies, no? And this culture is still in many companies, in some places in all companies, in technology departments, in sales and procurement. There are companies that are human resources, but they're trying to change this, no? And when we talk about innovation, one of the limitations that we have is that we think that creativity and innovation is coming here only, in how we design the service, how we design the interfaces, the brand, or the marketing, no? And this is limiting us, because in the end, creativity is here also. This is 10 types of innovation from Dublin. It's a company that was acquired by Deloitte. It's a book. It's quite interesting because it makes you think that you can innovate in the profit model, in the network, in the structure of the company. There is many things to innovate more than in service, channel, brand. The typical that we think about creativity, which is typing in colors. No? If you are not artistic, you are not doing marketing, you are not doing something that is artistic, you are not creative. There is a lot of creativity to be made here, even in a marketing organization. How do you build your clients? How do you organize? And this is the type of companies that are working now. No? They are a mix of cultures with machines doing the ugly part of the work. You have spaces for innovation and collaboration and people working together. And also you have cultures, no? One that is about the career, domination, another one that is about community. You can find this in many companies. People that go for the career, they're politics. They play a lot of politics, and they have a lot of political game. And people that stay in the craft, which is, I want to do a great job, I work with my hands, no? And you have this is the main crisis, when you have the new people trying to do the right things and the people that they have to report results. So this is one of the big tensions, no? My boss doesn't understand that I want to create a meaningful work. I want to be creative, and this client is not allowing me to be creative, no, for instance. So you have to understand what are the drivers of these two profiles, because a company works because of this and because of this. So we need to understand both, no? So we want to understand to change. This is how normally companies are changing. No? You have on one side the linear and the hierarchy. You know, remember the tower and the square? This is the tower, and the non-linear, the square, which is the network. No? And you have the horizon one, which is the familiar, security, predictability, tradition, keep things going, and protect. This is the conservative part. No? And you can improve it. And then the new is the surprise, inspiration, progress, ideas, visions, whatever. No? So unit is totally different. One is management, and the other one is leadership. No? And here, the Janus role is make the transfer. Invest, test and learn, and transfer and improve. So you can create something that is working together as something that is evolving. It's not that, for instance, if I want to, I don't know, to run a marathon, I can run it in the first day. And I have to keep on working, going so I have to combine my usual life with the training for the marathon. No? Well, this is the typical thing. So when you are changing something, you have to choose a role. This is the top-down one, which is the visionary guy. You have a message, you have a vision, and you communicate it, and you engage people, and you start a movement. And this is the conspiratory, which is like creating a small conspirations to take the power. And also an important role is the trickster. In many workshops, I think you see the people that are just relaxing. No, they're creating the oxytocin, how to say it, rush. And there is a lot of people that make a lot of jokes, and they take out all the seriousness of a business. When you have the people with the suits, normally you are scared, no? And the moment that you make them smile, the atmosphere changes. The people start interacting in a different way. Even they take out the ties, no? So okay, let's play together, no? So this role is very important, no? Because they provoke and they break the order, no? So it's very important to have this type of profiles. And then this type of profiles and the people that work in the hierarchy, maybe some of you work in this way. The traditional career is I have a position and I go to this position. But the problem with many of us is that we don't have a clear career. We are just doing, we're connecting things, we're doing this here, this there, we're creating, we are experimenting, no? So we are working in the spaces between the boxes of the others, connecting the other people, no? And this is a career that is a mess to manage. But every day you have the entrepreneurs, and a lot of people are working in this way in many companies. Well, let's go with this. So when we talk about what is going to work or not, what you are innovating, there are many situations, no? And you have to be able to identify that something cannot work. Not everything works. This is the Kodak digital camera, the first digital camera. They said, take it out because it won't work. They have the first digital camera, and they said, no, it's not going to work. This is the first version of the iPad. Somebody said to this guy, okay, go. It looks a little bit messy, but go, let's try. And you have now the iPad, but this is a prototype. This is how many people prototype. They don't do something that is, the first day is perfect, no? And then you have this, I think is a very interesting idea. I can find the sense of this product, which is, okay, you first dirty your teeth and then you clean it with the other, so you have the whole life cycle, no? You have all the customer journey, no? From eating to cleaning your teeth.
Or maybe the white stuff is Colgate.
Exactly, so you came up with a, yeah. This is very interesting. This is from a place called the Museum of Failure. And they have a lot of, even they have, I think it's vodka, Donald Trump vodka, and a Monopoly game with Donald Trump. They have many interesting products that were a total failure, no? So when we're talking about releasing oxytocin, this is one of the things that you can find in all around. When you move around, you can see that many workplaces are starting to look like a Starbucks, the third place. Don't leave, stay here with your friends. You don't feel like you're working, no? We're moving from transactional spaces to relationship spaces. places where the people can feel that they can collaborate. This is more or less something like that, no? The idea is creating a space where the people can talk and can create something new. And well, this is the creativity. All the cafes is copying this model, no? The cafes in Paris, where you have all these writers and painters and people doing things together. When you start a movement, you need a space where the people can get together, no? And this is for Berlin, in fact. The people, as you can see, there are people working. These are people in the university giving classes, and these are people working, and here they are learning, eating together. So there is the space and the structure helps the people to be together and collaborate. Don't be scared of the other, no? No? These offices look like a Starbucks, no? And then you have, this is me working in a project, the people user-centric methodologies, and then this is here in Berlin, the We Space from Volkswagen. Do you know it? Did you see it? It's like a Starbucks at the same time. It's like a place for the people. Where are the cars? There are no cars, no? So it's a place for people to hang out. And then you have, this is Umpqua Bank. It was a very ugly bank in Seattle. And one guy that worked Kiva Design, it was one of the, Kiva Design, sorry, was one of the pioneers in the 2000s of service design. They redesigned the experience of going to a bank. So they created something that it wasn't a bank anymore, but the people went together to hang out. Santander in Spain, they're creating a work cafe. Santander is very tough with employees. Used to be very tough. The people, I worked there 3 years, and it was like doing the military service for second time for me. So now they're doing these oxytocin spaces, no? With innovators, with whatever. And then you are creating new ways of working, ecosystems, you are collaborating in networks, you're having this type of work. This is for your office, new products, you have new ways of using data and new metrics at the same time. So this is some of the changes that are coming in companies, no? It's not a black box, closed black box with a linear process, but it's something that is more organic, no? More living. And this is the idea, no? You have on one side, now we will have information processing and repetitive tasks, and then the collaboration and creativity to innovate, and then real-time management. And this is, for me, this is something that is interesting to see when I don't know if you saw some e-sports games with people playing. I don't understand anything. My children, they understand it perfectly, but it's like everything is very stressful, a lot of voices and noise and people just interacting all the time. And I think in the future, most of these gamers will have the abilities to work in a real-time part of a company, because the company will have different speeds, more speeds, no? And you will have, the fastest speed will be this, but it was very repetitive and not creative, algorithms processing all the time, no? So when we talk about change, as we said, I'm finishing, I'm talking about the Wright brothers, and we could talk about the Google Duo, the Apple Duo, Microsoft Duo, but these guys, the interesting thing is they didn't have a concept for plane, which is unknown. They're thinking about flying. They didn't know they didn't know birds, but they didn't know what is we see our plane, the plane that brought us here, but they didn't have this vision. So they have to create the verb. What is flying, no? And you have the two type of profiles: the doer, which is the execution guy, the linear guy, and the storyteller, which is the visionary guy, the guy that engages the people and creates a vision that is motivating. So you need to combine different profiles to create something. Somebody that can know how to do things, and somebody is able to sell the vision, no? And they have to be together with a shared purpose, shared vision, and plan and action. If you don't have actions, you are not evolving. So all the decisions that you take here, they are executed. In reality, the change is executed here, it's not here, okay? And you have the profiles. One is in the back room of a store in Ohio, and the other one is in conferences with capitalists, presidents, and kings. And they're working together. The mission was the same, but doing different roles, okay? And this is how it works. As we said, a company can be creative, but consulting companies didn't need to be creative years ago. Now they need to be creative, but maybe in 5 years they won't need to be creative again. So these companies are adapting all the time, just moving, keeping the flow. Vision, execution in a connected way, obviously with a lot of people, restructures, but whatever. But these companies are doing the right strategy. It's not strategy for 10 years' time, but they are also responding to emergent situations, no? So, to change, in your case, this is you today, what you do today, your traditions, what you're good at, what you're doing, and this is where you want to go, and what you want to be. The progress, novelty, disruption, what do you want to be in the future? And here is where you create the transfer. How can you create a transition between the you of the past, or the today, and the you of the future? And what type of actions are you going to do here to start building? Because, as we said, if you don't use Uber, if you don't use Amazon, if you start going through the stairs every day instead of using the elevator, you are starting to do something. You're starting to start a change. So you have to understand what is the all things that are valid for you today, and the bad things. What is the vision that you want, and start the change here. So this is the important part. Which actions are you going to stop doing, and which the new actions are you going to start doing to change yourself, okay? And also take into account your life choices. Everything that you see here, when you focus your energy, your time and relationships, everything here changes the world. Leisure. You travel by flight, you don't travel, whatever. Consumption, what is the impact of your consumption? What, do you buy all the time, or you buy plastic, you buy eco, what type of consumption do you have? What type of news do you read? What is your digital habits? And what are they keeping off to do, no? The investment, are you investing in what type of banks, in funds, whatever, no? Impact of your work, housing and your lifestyle, family and education. This is very important. You can change your life as an individual, but we have to change everything as citizens. We have the opportunity to be well informed and make decisions as a community to think where we want to go, no? And transportation, no? So your life choices are making this change in the H2 horizon, no? So this is the last one. In the end, for me, and this is an interesting thing with the people that have been innovating, and also they have the experience. This is Abedis Donabedian was one guy that designed a lot of the systems of quality control of healthcare. He was from Armenia, and when he was old and he was an expert, all the disciples came to him and said, Abedis, what is the secret of quality? And he said, ultimately, the secret of quality is love. If you have love, you can then work backward to monitoring and improve the system. And this is, I think this is what many people are doing. This is what I admire a lot of the people that, when you talk with them, with old people that are retiring, what is the most important thing? And this is, again, we go to my tombstone, no? With the 70% of chargeability. What will be my learning and my eulogy for my children? No? What will be don't worry about this, worry about that. The important things are this, are not that. And also, acknowledging that in life you can have different metrics in different moments of life, obviously. But the idea is, for me, what is the driver or the fuel that we were talking yesterday that moves you? For this guy was putting love in the healthcare system, so the people have better outcomes. And it was the right thing to do. Not only that you have results, but it's also the right thing to do. So I leave you with this, thank you now. So this was the presentation. It was like a small trip. It's part of my life. It's like a little bit like a psychoanalysis, but I hope it was useful for you. Okay, thank you.